Star Citizen. Just so you know, this isn't going to be another one of the endless supply of videos documenting the endless, ridiculous history of Star Citizen. Those videos are made by people far more talented and more qualified than me, and explain things way better than I possibly could, so it's just going to be my thoughts on the project's current state and its direction into the future. Star Citizen is the biggest, most expensive, most ambitious game in history, and I genuinely don't believe it could ever possibly be eclipsed, just from the sheer scale of the project and its vision. And let's not even get started on the normal people's money that's been sacrificed on the altar of Chris Roberts. For anyone who doesn't already know, Star Citizen is a hugely ambitious space simulator with the goal of creating a completely immersive, fully simulated, fully explorable galaxy. It has completely seamless, simulated planets, all with massive landscapes and biomes. Even though the game is in a rough alpha state at the moment, the sheer scale of the sandbox and multiplayer allows for a huge amount of emergent gameplay, literally more than any other game I've ever played, even fully released ones. As a kid who was raised on Star Wars and Halo, this is my absolute dream game. Everything about the game, from the soundtrack yeah, that's the stuff. But everything about the game, from the soundtrack to the design of the ships and environments, was absolutely designed to be nostalgic and familiar. This all sounds like an absolute dream. There's just one problem. The game, or rather the game's open alpha, is in an absolutely shameful state. It's absolutely infested with bugs, and there's only a fraction of the content that's been promised actually implemented into the game. That, and the game is a decade behind schedule, and has a runaway budget that is quite literally the biggest in all of entertainment history, recently passing 800 million. Just for reference, these 8 countries all operate on a lower GDP than this ridiculous space game. Just to put into perspective what an absolute mess this game is, I tried to open up Star Citizen to get some gameplay, and after the game crashing 3 times on the menu screen, I finally got into the game, and my PC fans kicked up like a jet engine. My PC has an i7 12700, RTX 3070, and 16 gigabytes of RAM, and the game is so poorly optimized that even on minimum settings, it only ran at about 30 FPS. Once I got to the position I needed to get to record some footage, I turned the settings up to high, and the game instantly crashed. Fantastic. The other glaring issue with the game is the masses of missing content. I think the game was meant to release in like 2016, but since the game is so huge and revolutionary, it required the fairly sizable and time consuming modification of the fairly outdated CryEngine the development had started with. This slowed down development a lot. Now, even 10 years after the game's projected initial release date, only a fraction of the promised content has actually been delivered. For example, 100 fully explorable, fully developed star systems complete with settlements, economies, and mysteries to uncover were promised. And now, how many of those have been delivered 15 years into the game's development? Two. The second system, Pyro, was only added in the last year, with two more promised in the near future. But with Star Citizen's history of promised features not being quite on time, that doesn't mean very much at all. And that's not even discussing Squadron 42, the equally insanely ambitious campaign that's being worked on for the same universe, that, going by the gameplay reveal and trailers, looks like Halo on steroids. But that deserves a video entirely of its own at some point in the future. All this makes it sound like I don't actually like Star Citizen, but that's just not true. When this game works, it's genuinely beautiful. Even though there isn't that much actual gameplay yet, it's still absolutely unbelievable just to float around in space or in orbit and just look at the scale of everything. And there's still a fair bit to do around the universe, even if it's stuff you've probably seen before. The majority of missions that you can take in the game boil down to fly here, land, get out of your ship, shoot some guys, and go home. Fairly basic stock stuff, but just the chance to explore the universe and seamlessly transfer from deep space to surface to combat and back again was just unbelievably special. Even though you can spend 15 minutes just floating around the clouds and looking down at the cities below you, it never feels slow or arduous, just insanely immersive. And this game never restricts you from doing anything. At any point during your flight, you can stand up from your pilot's seat and walk around your ship, or even open your door and take a spacewalk. This might honestly be the single coolest thing I've ever done in a game. If you're not already familiar with the project, this game and the scale of its world is way, way bigger than I can possibly put into words in this short segment in a YouTube video. If you're interested in some extra perspective on what it's actually like to play this game, I'd recommend you watch some videos by creators like JV, Ollie43, and Bed Bananas, because it really is some of the most interesting emergent gameplay you've probably ever seen in a multiplayer game. And I know this kind of slow gameplay isn't for everyone, but I do really like it, and I wish more games would put so much effort into their immersion and world building. Just as a few ideas of how extreme this gets, when you first start the game, you wake up in a fully rendered apartment in a city where you have to get a lift to the lobby, wait at a train station, get a train to a spaceport through a massive cyberpunk style city, get another lift to a hangar, watch your ship rise out of the ground in front of you, walk through the ship's interior to get to the cockpit, turn on the ship's systems and engines, get clearance to launch, watch the top of the hangar open up above you, and lift off into orbit. Some people might find this type of gameplay infuriating, slow, and unstimulating, but I find this level of immersion into a futuristic world fascinating. At any point, you can go anywhere and touch and pick up anything in the world. It's all fully rendered, hugely detailed, and interactive. So where does Star Citizen go from here? It's really difficult to say. It's already in a state where there's more content and more to do in the universe than most fully released games, but it's just such a small fraction of what's actually been promised that it's not quite there yet, unless you're like me and really enjoy sinking into this huge sci-fi universe. There's still a massive amount of content and gameplay being promised to come soon, like reputation with factions, land claims and base building, and so much more. The game has already cost $750 million though, mainly funded by selling obscenely expensive ships to backers and some sizable donations from billionaires like Clive Calder looking to buy into the project. I'm recording this as I finish up editing, but as of now, Star Citizen has passed $800 million in funding. So overall, what actually is Star Citizen? I don't really know. At the moment, it's a bug-infested wannabe space simulator that shows absolutely unimaginable levels of potential and promise, possibly the most of any game ever. This might just be me huffing a strong dose of hopium, but it really does look like the potential is going to be realized in this game, just really slowly. That's all for today. As always, thanks for watching to the end, it really does mean a lot. Just looking at my recording software, I think this might actually be my longest video ever, so thanks for watching. I don't know when this video is going out because I've been away for a while, so thanks for sticking with the channel. Other than that, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.